Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Now, one of the goals of my YouTube channel is to help people to eat more vegetables. Now, eating vegetable is not necessary for most people one of the highest priority in their diet. And one of the reasons is that people find that vegetable tends to be boring. They're not as exciting as eating meat. Actually, I tend to differ, and I think vegetables, in fact, are far more interesting than eating meat because there are many different kinds of vegetables. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you a vegetable that you might not be familiar with, but it is one of those vegetables has been a main staple when I was growing up in Hong Kong. Now, this vegetable is known as GAILAN. As I shown in this video, it is a leafy vegetable, but it has a stem. Now, when I cut into the stem, if you look closely, you will find the stem actually has a texture very similar to broccoli. And for this reason, this particular vegetable is frequently known as Chinese broccoli. Now, this Chinese broccoli also has a lot of leaves. And if you look at the leaves closely, the leaves actually are similar to kale. And because of this reason, it is also referred to as Chinese kale. Now, the vegetable, in fact, belong to the same family as broccoli, as well as many other this type of vegetable, such as bok choy, kale. They are all belong to a similar plant family. And they actually have very similar taste, although there are subtle differences in their flavor. Now, this vegetable is very popular in southern part of China. In fact, in Hong Kong, this vegetable, you can find it in markets everywhere. Now, this vegetable comes in different forms. The form that we show in here, that frequently we call it, I would say, a medium-sized gailan, because the stem is not very thick. Now, you probably noticed that in broccoli, the stem could be very thick. Now, the vegetable of this particular kind depends on the varieties. Some of them has very thick stem. In the case, if the stem is too thick, then they become fibrous. So over the years, that with the development of different varieties, many different versions has come about, and some of them that the stem tends to be much thinner, and consequently they are less fibrous. Still, the best way to cut them is to cut them in these thin slices. So when you cook them, they provide you with the best culinary experience. Several years ago, when I was visiting Hong Kong, I remember I met with a friend for a drink. And we stopped at a local Chinese restaurant. And of course, most people, when they have drink, they usually will have something like at least in this country, they will have something like peanuts or pretzel to go with the drink. In our case, we have a plate of gailan with oyster sauce to go with our beer. I purchased this gailan from a Chinese grocery store. Gailan has a relatively short shelf life, mainly because the leaves of the gailan turn yellow very rapidly. So as soon as I brought the gailan back from the grocery store, I wash it right away. Now, I wash the gailan each time after I prep them, because in the past, the gailans tend to be contaminated with soil from where it is being grown. So if you don't wash them, they can taste gritty. And in this case, having a large colander is very helpful. I will wash it at least twice, or until I notice that the water runs clear. In this case, I find it very helpful to do advanced prepping. I then store them in a plastic container. I usually able to get 2 to 3 containers out of a batch that I purchase. And most of the time, they already pre-packaged in 2 to 2.5 pound bags. So this will provide me up to 3 separate meals. After I put them in the plastic container, I often let them to air dry for about maybe 30 to 40 minutes before I put the cover on it and store them in the refrigerator. Cooking the gailan actually turned out to be very simple. I use my basic vegetable stir-fry template. I'm going to cook it in my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok. I start out with about 2 tablespoons of canola oil. Again, you can use any cooking oil that you would like as long as it has a high smoking point. I use canola oil because I have been using it for a long time, and it works well for me. Now, you don't need to season the wok using the spot seasoning method. All you have to do is to let the oil to heat up. And then I put the gailan, which actually from one of those containers, about 5 cups, into the wok. Now here I want to show you something that you might find interesting when it comes to what size of wok that you want to purchase. Now you notice that this wok is really full with this gailan vegetable because of its leaves. Now this is a 14-inch wok. And the nice thing about the 14-inch wok is that when you cook vegetables that with high leafy content, a large wok is very helpful because eventually the leaves will cook down. So for the amount of vegetable that you want to cook, a larger wok will allow you to accommodate initially all the leaves that comes with this vegetable. Now, if you use a smaller wok, such a 12-inch wok, you will find that you are going to lack of space and things is going to spill over from the wok. As you notice here, I used a pair of long-handled tongs rather than a wok spatula to mix the content. This makes mixing easier and also more efficient. You want to mix the content well because otherwise the vegetable sitting at the bottom will get burned. By now the vegetable is about 50% done. I add some soy tofu puff to the wok. You can substitute the soy tofu puff with other food ingredients such as chicken. In my case, because I happen to have some of them available in my advanced prepping. I'm going to first season the dish with my basic seasoning mix, which is designed to enhance the natural flavor of the food ingredients. But there are other flavoring strategies that you can use. The final ingredients I'm going to add to this dish is some enoki mushroom. This mushroom frequently also known as seafood mushroom. Again, the primary reason I use that is because I have some of them available in my advanced prepping. Other mushroom will also do the job, such as portobello mushroom or white mushroom. The strategy in cooking this vegetable dish is to make it more interesting, so that instead of eating just the gailan, you will have other food ingredients for you to make the culinary experience more interesting, and these variations will play an important role to help you to eat more vegetables. And by changing the different combinations, you will make the dish more interesting. At this point, the dish is almost done. I did a quick taste test and I decided that I'm going to add a touch of oyster sauce to enhance the flavor of the dish. Now this represents an approach which is an important part of my fast cooking system, that is flavor chasing. I always make changes to my dishes as I cook. I did another taste test. I decided I'm going to add just a touch of hoisin sauce to enhance the sweetness of the flavor of the dish. I season my dish differently each time. A lot of times it depends on how I think the different food ingredients in creating the dish combination will work best under certain type of flavor. If I have used, say, portobello mushroom, I might season it slightly differently. And this is the key in flavor chasing. And this is also vital in making your home cooking more interesting, because you can always looking forward to new flavor experience. So as you can see, using the basic stir-fry vegetable template, you can cook almost any vegetable that you would like. Now, you might have to make fine adjustment along the way, But as a whole, the template will help you to able to make almost any vegetables to fit into how you're going to enjoy them. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun using my fast cooking system, so you can incorporate home cooking as part of your daily routine. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.